The Clockwork Sun. Chapter 1. The Long Twilight. The world of Oakhaven had not seen a sunrise in 100 years. The sky was a bruised purple, lit only by the ghost lanterns, dim hovering orbs that the elders claimed were the fading embers of the old world. Elara was a scavenger of the deep sands. While others stayed in the glow of the village lanterns, she wandered the dunes where the wind whispered in forgotten tongues. She carried her grandfather's solar key, a heavy brass instrument that never clicked into any lock she found, until the night the sky cracked. A sound like tearing silk echoed across the desert. A streak of gold, purer and hotter than any ghost lantern, clove the sky in two. It didn't crash, it anchored itself into the great dune, vibrating with a low, rhythmic pulse. Tick, tick, tick. Elara reached the site just as the sand began to turn to glass beneath the heat. At the center of the crater wasn't a rock, but a giant glowing gear, 6 feet wide, spinning in silence. As she approached, the solar key in her belt began to glow. It wasn't just a key, it was a heartbeat. Chapter 2. The Iron Wanderer. As Elara touched the gear, the desert vanished. For a split second, she saw a city of brass suspended in the clouds, where golden giants moved the tides with massive levers. She fell back, gasping, as a shadow loomed over her. It was not a man, but a construct, a tall, slender knight made of rusted silver and glowing blue glass. Its face was a smooth plate, save for 2 dim lights where eyes should be. "The mainspring is broken," the construct said, its voice sounding like grinding stones. "The great machine of the sky has seized. You carry the key, child of dust." "I'm just a scavenger," Elara whispered. "The stars do not choose scavengers or kings. They choose the one who is still looking up when everyone else has learned to love the dark. I am Kale 9, the last sentinel. If we do not bring the gear to the Spire of Dawn, the twilight will become a tomb." Chapter 3. The Trials of the Gears. Their journey took them to the Valley of Echoes, a place where time didn't flow, it looped. To pass, Elara had to use the solar key to unlock moments in time. The first trial was the trial of regret. In a canyon of mirrors, Elara saw her parents, who had disappeared into the sands years ago. They called to her, begging her to stay in the beautiful golden past they offered. Kale 9 watched, his blue eyes flickering. "Time is a circle, but you cannot live in the curve," he warned. With a trembling hand, Elara turned the solar key in the air, shattering the mirrors and choosing the cold, dark present over a lie. The second trial was the trial of weight. They reached a bridge made of gravity and light. To cross, Elara had to surrender her most precious memories to lighten her soul. She felt the warmth of her grandfather's house and the smell of rain fade from her mind. As she grew lighter, the bridge solidified. By the time they reached the other side, she was no longer a girl of Oakhaven. She was becoming something metallic, something eternal. Chapter 4. The Spire of Dawn. At the center of the world stood the spire, a tower of black obsidian that pierced the clouds. At the top sat the empty socket of the world's heart. But they were not alone. The Shadow Eaters, creatures born from a century of darkness, swarmed the base of the tower. They feared the light. Kale 9 threw a blade of pure kinetic energy.
"Go," he commanded. "I was built to hold the line. You were born to break the dark." Elara climbed as the sounds of clashing metal echoed below. At the summit, she found the great mechanism. It was a terrifyingly complex array of frozen cogs. She realized then that the falling star she found wasn't a gift, it was a replacement part. The solar key began to burn her skin. She saw the truth. The machine wouldn't start with a turn of a key. It needed a spark, a soul. Chapter 5. The First Morning. Kale 9 dragged himself onto the platform, his silver frame shattered, his blue eyes dimming. "The world is cold, Elara," he rasped. "Give them the fire." Elara looked at the solar key, then at the empty heart of the machine. She understood Kale's story from the legends, the boy who had ascended long ago. He hadn't become a god to rule. He had become a battery to keep the universe turning. She stepped into the center of the gears. She didn't feel fear. She felt the rhythm of the universe, the ticking of every heart, the spinning of every planet. She placed the key into the slot and turned it with the weight of her entire existence. A golden explosion threw Kale back. The gears groaned, then began to hum. The sound was a song, a deep, resonant chord that shook the earth. In Oakhaven, the elders walked out of their huts. For the first time in a century, the horizon didn't turn purple. It turned red, then orange, then a blinding, glorious gold. Elara was no longer on the tower. She was the warmth on the villagers' faces. She was the light hitting the deep sands. She had become the Dawn Weaver. High above, Kale 9 looked up at the new sun. He saw a shape in the solar flares, a girl with a key, watching over the world. He smiled, his rusted gears finally coming to a rest. The long night was over.